Hello all and welcome to Nottingham, should I say. So today I'm going to have a walk round and enjoy myself in a city I've loved for a long time. I'm going to have a bit of a tour, I'm going to show a bit of history, we're going to go to a few pubs, a few bars and a general walk round. Enjoy the tour and welcome to the new camping man. Let's go. A disclaimer before we start. I'm not an historian, I just love the history. So I want to share some of it with you. But it's not just about the history of Nottingham, it's about the culture, it's about the vibe, it's about the general ethos of the place. What a city. It's fantastic. So let's go and have a walk up this way. So King Street. Any place has a strong reason to be called King Street, it's definitely this one. There is a good reason why this is King Street. Lots of places have a King Street, but this has got a real reason for it. Let's show you. So I don't know if you can see that plaque there. I'll just stop and let you look at that. That plaque is about the Civil War in 1642. That's 1642. Now this was an actual place where King Charles raised his standard. He raised his army and his campaign of the Civil War started here in Nottingham. This relates to the town I'm from in one respect, because the Civil War, or the whole of area of Nottingham, a lot of it was royalist. And in my town of Newark, there's a Civil War museum that's there dedicated to the fact of the Civil War. So if you ever get a chance to go there, that's worth going to too. I mentioned it as well in my other videos of where I went to Lowestoft on the other side of the coin. In this case, Cromwell, where his headquarters was in Lowestoft in Suffolk. So yes, this very place that we're in here called Standard Hill, obviously Standard Hill, where the king raised his standard. The Civil War started just here, right here in Nottingham. So we will be going down there shortly. However, for now, just going to talk about the castle. Well, that's one thing we've got to talk about, this castle. If you're actually expecting a castle, you're going to be very disappointed, because it's not quite a castle, but there is a good reason in that. However, the area that you can see now dates back to that time, where this was a Norman castle. And William the Conqueror, the first William of England, decided to make a fortification here in Nottingham. And this is the outer gate. Spectacular. The castle itself, Norman in design, and a garrison and a stronghold of the whole city where they could see everything around the city from every location, was built on a rock, Castle Rock, which is a sandstone rock. And I'll show you a bit of that later. But the thing about the castle is it's had a very jaded history. At one point it was attacked by Cromwell's men, and fire was backwards and forth through cannon from the castle. It was originally a wooden castle, and then it became a stone castle and fortified from that. Now the thing is about Nottingham Castle as well, one thing I can say about it is it did eventually become rebuilt and was made into like some kind of stately home. I don't know the whole history about it, maybe that's worth looking up, but I know it was a stately home. And at one point the castle was actually changed completely, so it doesn't look like a castle now at all. Now you might be wondering why I'm having to look through gates at the minute, and I don't know if you can see into the castle grounds, which we can't go in at the moment for reasons I'll make clear shortly. The reasons why we can't go into the castle ground at the moment is they're actually renovating it. So it's got a museum with art galleries and things of that nature in there. And deep below the castle grounds, or below the castle, there are caves. And the caves are all dotted throughout Nottingham. And when I was a child, we could come and we could look at what's called Mortimer's Hole. Now there's a little bit of a story about Mortimer. It's a bit probably for a different time, and I probably need to do a bit more research. But trust me, there was an actual underground system, and there is a lot of houses in Nottingham where there's caves. And rumour is the great outlaw Dick Turpin snuck out and hid out amongst the caves. And there was a tanneries around there, and there were things like that where they were making leather and using substances such as urine and that nature, lovely, to make leather. So the circumstances within the castle itself, why is it like that? Why is it no longer a castle? As I said, it was made into a stately home and a stately place to live. At one point, the townspeople rose up and it caught fire and was rebuilt again. And now it's been given to the city of Nottingham, and it's been preserved and it's being renovated at the moment. So that's why I can't walk around the castle grounds at the minute, I'm afraid, because they were actually renovating it at the minute. But we will get our time, we'll come back one day and we'll show you inside there, because the views from up there are absolutely fantastic. I'd encourage anybody to go in the castle ground, just to go up to the top of the hill of the castle, past the museum, and look down at the centre of Nottingham, and you can see the whole of Notts. I might even get a chance to just give a quick glimpse. I'm going to be sneaky.
Just stay behind the fence, please.
So that's, I can't go in, as I say, as somebody's been told me to go back, which is fair enough. So there we go. That's as much as I can show you at the minute, because it is being renovated. I've not noticed that before. That's quite cool. Give you the famous Castle Rock of Nottingham, where the castle's actually built on. Let's have a closer look. So this would have been strategically important to the Normans. They could see the whole city from it. And this is all sandstone, all this area here. It's very impressive part of Nottingham, this. I used to love coming here as a child. I still love coming to this part of the area of the city now. And you can see why the Normans did this. Strategic place in the middle of Nottingham where they could see the whole of the area. What I particularly like is these holes in the rocks.
Pretty.
It's really, you see? People are saying it's really pretty. Rocks. And how it's all set out. It's a fabulous feature. Why not call a beer or a brewery after it Castle Rock Breweries? So, if you ever come to Nottingham, try some beer from the Castle Rock. Not exactly from the Castle Rock, but from Castle Rock Breweries. Trip to Jerusalem. Now this is supposed to be the oldest pub in England. Now that may be debated, but they claim it to be the oldest pub in England. Let's have a sit down and have a talk about it, then we'll go get some beer there. And you know I like my beer. So, the thing is about the trip to Jerusalem, apparently that would have been the area where they could get alcohol and have a drink and have a sit down before they went out to the Crusades. Because rumour has it, this was a stay before people would go out to the Crusades. Now trip is not what you think it is. Trip to us would be a trip, a long journey. But actually this would be the stay. Trip would have been a stay, a place to stay before you go somewhere. And that's what they mean trip here. Now it is going to be debated about it being the oldest pub in England, but it certainly dates back to a long time of when the castle was around. So it goes back that far back. So we're talking centuries really. So to be fair, it's got a good claim. But there we go. Let's go and have a beer anyway. I'm getting thirsty. It's a popular spot, this is. Not only for tourists, in general anyway. I'm getting thirsty now, guys. Cheers all. Nice that. There we go. Have a read of that, guys, to your heart's content. So, one thing about these walls is, yes, they've had a bit of renovation. You can see that that's more modern brick. But then we've got areas like this, look, and character building like that. So this is more castle than the castle. So let's go up to see what this area is famous for. Robin Hood. The Robin Hood statue in Nottingham. There we go. So that's what they intended Robin Hood to look like. Well, historically that's what they were saying. Now that has been controversial over the years. Stocky features with a long bow. Not the kind of Robin Hood you'd see on films, I know. But they reckon it's more historical. Give that what you like. At the end of the day, he was a legend. Can't exactly say he was real. But there we go. He may be. We have a plaque about it there, look. You want to read up? 1949. There we go. You know the tales of Robin Hood and the sheriff. The sheriff was a real person. Well, the sheriff would have been a real person back then, because sheriffs had influence from the king. They had authority, they had rules, they had taxes. So feed the rich, or to feed the rich. And as far as Robin Hood's concerned, steal from the rich to feed the poor. But let's be honest, if we think about that, is that really true? Probably not. There's been that many stories about Robin Hood, but Nottingham and Nottinghamshire claims him as their own. So there must be something in that. Now Yorkshire has a claim on Robin Hood as well, but there could be many Robin Hoods about. I'd like to think it's a Nottinghamshire thing. It's our legend and we're keeping it. Show you around these. Here, my mate Robin. We've got a thing going on. Anybody who knows my channel, they know I have this little thing about running up steps and getting absolutely exhausted doing it. We're on it, guys. It's going to happen again. So, here we go. How fast can an old guy run up them steps? Right then. Come on. Leggy, 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 leggy. You're the champions, my friend. Robin Hood, running through the glen. Robin Hood, with his brand men. Andy. Right then, guys, another bar. So I walk round to my beer. So apparently this one's called Snake Eyes. Have a taste then. It's not bad. So this area of Notts is Maid Marian Way, leading up to the castle up there. There's another way up there. As I said, there's a theme. Robin Hood is a bit of influence. St. Nicholas Church. From what I understand this, during the Civil War, there was cannons that were fired from this particular building. out towards the castle over there. Obviously, we've got a building there in the way now, but imagine the castle up that direction. So cannons were actually rested on top of the church here, and they fired out over there again, as I mentioned, and back into the church. Result, the church was demolished and they had to rebuild it. So this is heavily part of the Civil War. Another interesting fact about the Civil War and Nottingham. Now, the Royal Children. I don't think I've ever been in that pub, but apparently it's not open now. Or at least there must be a problem. But it has an history. Unfortunately, from what I see, is this bar's no longer open, this pub's no longer open, or if there is, there's a problem. One thing about the Royal Children is the history. Royal Children were in this pub and they were entertained. They're outside the salutation, and in Nottingham they call it the Sally, or the Sal, so to speak. £12.40. Probably considered one of the oldest pubs or the oldest inns in Nottingham. Of course, this is going to be debated, but it is certainly a very old place. So what I've noticed about the place is all the beams going through, and certainly a fantastic bar. Let's have another pint. So this is the dividing line between the French side, or the Norman side of the city, and the English side. Down this line here. So it may look like vents now, but there's a reason why it was done. And that's the council building. Lace market. Nottingham used to be very famous for lace. World renowned for lace, actually. And during Victorian times, they would sell the lace in an affluent area, Nottingham. There were people making the lace, and the lace market was where they sold the lace. Look down the grandeur of this area of Nottingham. This was all the lace market area, and now it's part of the university and part of colleges. The money and the affluence, the money that came from this particular town. And also, we've got to remember, back in the Industrial Revolution and up until late, there was a colliery area of Nottinghamshire. So even coal was a big thing. Nottingham has become a student place, a place with a vibe of its own. Fantastic diversity, one hell of a place. I'd encourage anybody who's going to university here, or anybody who's actually wanted to see a city with so much vibrance, do not count Nottingham out. Buildings are incredible, and they date back to a lot of when Nottingham, as I said, was to do with the lace trade. Victorian buildings and older. Vibrant city, and people come here to socialise, to eat and to enjoy themselves. Unfortunately, at the time that I'm actually doing this filming, not so long back, there was quite a nasty attack in Nottingham, and people of the Nottingham town or the city are actually grieving at this time. The thing is about Nottingham is people will bounce back, and they often do. It has that resilience, whether it be from the Norman conquest to the Saxons and even the Vikings. Yes, Nottingham had influence with the Vikings as well. They settled here and they kind of took over part of the city. I absolutely adore the place. Every time I come from my town in Newark and I get off the train and come here, I'm already excited as soon as I get off that train. That's what Nottingham does for you. Excitement, enjoyment, fulfillment. What a city. Please don't discount it. If you're in the UK, come and have a look at this place. This area of Nottingham was where the Galleries of Justice now is. Was in a very important place. It was a prison. It was even an area of hanging. And it was really what it says on the tin, to do justice. What we're looking at outside this building, there would have been a spectacle across there where people would have had public hangings. Today, it's a museum represented on the fact. And we have an old-fashioned police station. Obviously no longer a police station, but that was the old police station of the town. Pubs, bars, you name it. So in front of me we have the contemporary, or Nottingham Contemporary. And over there is a representation of the area with that monument where Vikings used to be. As I say, this town had a lot of influence with Vikings, as well as in York and the like. We can see in front of us on the Contemporary is patterns of the famous Nottingham lace. On that note, I'm going to church, but not as you think. This is yet another bar. I'll show you the inside. So this place was a church and is now a bar, and a good bar at that. Bless you, love you all. Thanks for watching New Camping Man. I'm sorry I couldn't put everything in, but you've got to come to this town. Thank you. I'm off for a beer. Andy.